Are you ready for me?
So you're really an 80s fan. Okay, Guido, the killer pimp. Here's some more stuff for you. It's I Love the 80s Strikes Back, and this is 1983 again.
You must be joking.
The flicks, the fashions, the trends, the TV, the tunes. A totally awesome year that gave us even more burning questions. What's the best way to fight a bunch of lizard aliens in shades?
Run.
Chicken McNuggets. Food?
Are we just nuggets?
Or something much better?
I loved the McNugget. I still love the McNugget.
And what's wrong with this picture?
So unrealistic. I mean, a priest falling in love with a woman?
The answers to those questions, plus
Sausages.
not bad.
Sausages.
The guys in Kiss take it all off.
This is a really big moment.
Because you can't get enough 80s. Because you still remember your high score on Donkey Kong. Admit it, this is 1983. Strikes Back.
Oh, no! No! No!
Richard Simmons during the 80s was this health nut weight loss guru.
Richard Simmons was an inspiration on so many levels. He inspired me to get a perm, which I still wear.
Not many guys could wear those little red and white striped shorts and get away with it.
You have a problem with tight shorts? I wore tight shorts. They were fashionable in my day.
I mean, it used to show his balls, I'm pretty sure. And we didn't want to see Richard's balls.
Hips side to side in one.
He finally made dieting macho. I'm Richard Simmons. I'm gonna diet.
Hey, I've been where you are now. I've been 268 pounds with a 44-inch waistline.
Well, he was a fat guy who got skinny and saw the light and wanted to spread the word.
You have some guy who's like all cut and you're like, you can be just like me. No, I can't. You see Richard and you're like, I could pull that off.
Now give it a go. One. And I just can't hide it now.
You can do it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Richard was very bipolar. He would be very up and screaming.
Oh, no! No! No!
The next minute he'd be crying like a baby.
Keep smiling. Keep shining. No, you can always count on me.
The best thing about Richard Simmons is he absolutely cares about these big fat people. And I think that's nice. I really do. I like Richard Simmons.
If you take the word diet and break it up in syllables, the first syllable is die. You don't want to die.
I wish he would come out with a video today, sweating to the hip-hop.
It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. It's your video.
All night long. All night. All night. All night long. All night. You know, he builds you up.
All night long. All night. It's one of those songs where you sing your own backup.
Everybody's smiling, laughing. Your parents even dig it. And it's like they're talking about all night long.
So I'm not going to dance all night. Now, I'll do something else all night. But dancing,
There was a chant in the middle featuring that adorable little girl.
Lionel Richie breaks into this Swahili / Ibotic talk. Hey, mumbo jumbo all night.
Hey, Benita Bastamona. Hey, Papa Champa.
And all my white friends would ask me, what is he talking about? I'm like, I don't know what Lionel is talking about.
Another talent of Lionel Richie's is he could wear the tightest leather pants, no panty lines.
Staying Alive was a sequel to Saturday Night Fever, directed by Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone directed Staying Alive.
was just a fast forward on Tony Manero's life. Now he moved to the city, and he was kind of still Gavone.
Way to go, Manero!
Where was the leisure suit wearing, sassy mook from Brooklyn?
I moved to Manhattan.
John Travolta gets in a Broadway show as a chorus member, but come on, he was not destined for the chorus. He's a star. John Travolta was very ripped. Nothing like Saturday Night Fever.
He dances for 3 hours a day. He lifts weights for 2 hours. 6 days a week. Plus he's under tremendous mega vitamin therapy.
Joy, count it down.
What is the opposite of a camel toe? A camel hump? That's what I guess you call that thing between John Travolta's legs.
There was a part at the end of Staying Alive which was called Satan's Alley, and there was whips and chains.
My brother had this book like of Dante, these paintings. I go, what's this have to do with like Tony Manero? Oh, now you gotta get the concept.
I had no idea what that part was about, and I was in it for 6 weeks.
I would go see a play like that just to check it out if I had comp tickets.
It's a victorious sort of performance, and he's walking out and he says, you know what I want to do?
You know what I want to do?
And she says, what? Thinking he's going to say, I'm going to make love to you like you've never been made love to before. No, he said, strut.
And then he struts down the street.
I'm feeling okay.
Even then, I was like, that is the gayest thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Look, I obviously wouldn't kill someone for a Klondike bar.
I'd kill a head of state.
I'd seriously injure them.
Why'd you do it?
For a Klondike bar?
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
I'd be all like, hey, can I please have a Klondike bar, man? Please.
If I was stoned, I'd do just about anything to eat a Klondike bar. I used to get super stoned.
I will break every law known to man just to have my mouth around this confectionery treat.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
People will do just about anything for a Klondike bar.
Would you make monkey sounds? Would you hop like a frog? Would you honk like a goose?
Even bark like a dog? Scandalous.
You know what you should do for a Klondike bar? Just shell out the 52 cents and buy one for yourself. All right.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
I love 83. Every rose has its thorn.
Thornbirds was an event in my life.
It was a mini-series. It was a big event. Everybody went goo-goo gaga for Richard Chamberlain.
You are the most beautiful man I have ever seen, Ralph DeBrickerson.
You'd have, like, Thornbirds, the party, and everyone would discuss and cry.
Thornbirds, so unrealistic. I mean, a priest falling in love with a woman.
Well, he met the girl, I think, when she was like 7 or something.
I'm Maggie.
Richard Chamberlain is giving this girl a cradle-to-grave education. He raises her and then teaches her how to have sex with him.
And then watched her grow into this beautiful Rachel Ward, and they can't have each other, but they want each other. It's all that. Just great stuff.
You can never stop being a priest. Why can't you understand that? The vows he took are sacred. They can't be broken. Ever.
Well, a couple times they kiss. And like, no, I can't. You can't understand how somebody just like says no to love and devotes themselves to, you know, one thing. And then, you know, the temptation. I'll just never forget the scene on the beach. And they kiss on the water and the sand, and everybody's dirty and wet.
It was this incredible, orgasmic, like, relief for all the women who were hoping they got together, and they finally did. And then Richard Chamberlain talks about how unpleasant and romantic that was to shoot.
Chamberlain. Didn't he just come out of the closet, right?
If the Thornbirds was remade today, he'd probably go for Brian Brown's character, the sheep shearer.
breakup songs of 1983.
Because this boy too has love without a reason, I, Boy George, console you with the breakup songs of 1983. Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. Separate Ways by Journey.
There is always something there to remind me.
And Always Something There to Remind Me by Naked Eyes. The breakup songs of 83. Aren't you prepared to let go now?
Risky Business, the movie, is every boy's dream. How can I run a brothel out of my house while my parents are away? If I could hook up with the chicks in Risky Business, I would. I tend to like streetwalkers in small towns.
I figured I would have gotten into trouble somehow. Sometimes you gotta say, what the f?
What the f? What the f? What the f? What the f?
Tom Cruise in his shorty shorts. Woo-woo!
Just take those old records on the shelf. I say listen to them by myself.
I thought Tom Cruise in Risky Business was really hot.
Everyone remembers Tom Cruise in his underwear. I mean, that image is Risky Business.
I did that about 1,000 times to a lot of different songs. But Rebecca De Mornay never showed up at my door, and I do have a hooker habit.
Are you ready for me, Ralph?
Rebecca De Mornay, she is so sexy in that movie.
What about when he was up against the window and somehow that convenient breeze came in that was actually a real wind? That's how hot she was. Like nature reacted to her hotness.
The best scene is when he was humping her on the train.
There was no Playboy channel back then. That was like, you know, I was living at home. I couldn't rent porno. That was the hottest thing I ever seen.
Actually, right after I saw that movie, I went out and I humped somebody on the train.
Excuse me, ma'am, with your children. Hold on while I mount this woman from behind. This is not inappropriate. You are inappropriate.
Now that I live in New York and I've actually taken subways, and I realize you don't want to touch anything on a subway.
Awesome. Sunglasses can be very reasonable or very expensive. People wear sunglasses for lots of reasons.
Something that looks good on me.
The price of it, that's what I'd be looking at.
Yes, let's wear glasses that make our faces look smaller. Because it's the early 80s, and small faces are in.
I used to wear them like this because I thought it was sexy.
Look at me, I'm super new wave. I've got a Devo record, I'm all rock lobster on your ass.
The Ray-Bans are what the rich kids were wearing.
If a man wore Ray-Bans, we thought that they had money.
It was the preferred sunglass of the hip elite. A lot of the bands wore them.
Tom Cruise's character in Risky Business, Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun, Tom Cruise's character... No, I'm just kidding.
But I think once Huey Lewis put them on, they were done.
The Chukos wore Ray-Bans and cool old scuzzy white guys wore Ray-Bans. Varney's more of like the, what's up, man? Action, extreme sports.
I remember the Varneys being more expensive. They were French.
Were Varneys kind of like Dijonnays? It's like a combination of Barnes and some other glasses called like Sun Glaze.
My buddy lost his Varnays, and he was like, dude, they're $70 shades. We were like, they're $70, man, let's find them.
I'm a redhead. Redheads can't wear sunglasses. We look like we're just holding them until the cool person comes back who's going to look good in them wears them.
The Day After was hilarious.
Don't worry, be happy now.
The Day After was this television movie that was supposed to scare the living hell out of America. It was during the Cold War, and Russia sends over a nuclear bomb.
The Day After, it depicts in graphic detail the events in a small Kansas town after a nuclear attack.
Those freaky-deaky Russians just bombed Toto.
Kansas! I hate the band Kansas. If I hear dust in the wind one more time, I will kill somebody.
All they are is dust in the wind.
The film was made in the university town of Lawrence in Kansas. Many of the townspeople were extras. Last night, several of them admitted to being extraordinarily depressed by the experience.
As a kid, I think it was too much for me to handle. I certainly didn't have parents that were saying to me, this isn't going to happen tomorrow. You just need to relax. It was more like, oh, come on. Get over it. There's not going to be a nuclear war. And I was like, okay, that didn't help.
These kids don't know. We were on the cusp, man. It was like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I remember watching it and then going to school and having discussions.
We watched it in my house. We were all freaked out, all the kids.
I just went my paths.
Ooh, this could really happen. This makes me think.
When I just saw it recently as an adult, I was like, oh my God, why was I scared?
There was actually a better depiction of this. It was called Hiroshima, and an even better one called Nagasaki.
It was a really total jerk-off movie. That's why they never show it anymore. This is not a good movie.
My room was entirely filled with pictures of The Outsiders. I saw that movie, probably 5 times.
The Outsiders was about really good-looking gangs made of socias and greasers.
God, you filthy greaser!
This actually was the first Lifetime movie ever made, but with guys.
I don't think I could ever tell Steve or Two-Bit or even Derry about the clouds and sunset. Anyone who wanted to engage in homoerotic banter and horseplay was in The Outsiders.
It was like the Brat Pack of that time, and they just got like all those young actors from Ralph Macchio to Patrick Swayze.
Matt Dillon, don't forget.
Stupid Johnny. We're gonna do it for Johnny, man. We're gonna do it for Johnny.
I mean, he had those lips and the cheekbones and the big eyes, and, he was just gorgeous.
He was all right. I thought Matt Dillon was really hot. Ralph Macchio, not hot. C. Thomas Howell was hot. But then C. Thomas Howell was not hot in Soul Man.
I'll take you.
In my high school, if the tough kids challenged the rich kids to a rumble, the rich kids don't show up.
It was fairly predictable that they'd win the rumble at the end.
We're going to get back at the power structure. We're going to take those down a notch. We're going to teach them a lesson.
Which was, I don't know. I'm sure there was a lesson in there somewhere.
Watch out for yourself. If nothing can touch you, man.
Coming up, how evil is that doggy in the window? Plus, the man who was much scarier with his makeup off.
Gene Simmons, in real life, is just one horrible-looking Jewish man.
Plus, every time you think you're out, McDonald's pulls you right back in.
I was freebasing Chicken McNuggets during the 80s. I was so obsessed with them.
Next on I Love the 80s Strikes Back, 1983. But first, this public service announcement.
Hey, what are we doing out of the bottle? This is dangerous. A little kid might come along and think we were candy. That would be awful because we're medicine. He might even eat us. No, 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 no. We're not candy. Believe us. Even though we look so fine and dandy. When you're sick, we come in handy. But we're not candy. No, no.
The hip-hop jam of 1983.
As we go, a little something like this. Hit it! What's up, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh. Tell me if you know this one. Freeze! Rock! Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. The hip-hop classic of 1983 is White Lines. Aight?
Cujo is the story of Saint Bernard who goes crazy and traps a woman and her kid in a Veta.
It wasn't a St. Bernard. It was a Rockweiler, Cujo.
Cujo? What kind of dog is he?
St. Bernard.
Next thing you're gonna tell me it was a Chihuahua. I have friends that had those dogs, and they started naming their dogs Cujo. People started naming their kids Cujo. Here's my boy, my son, Cujo.
The best part of Cujo is just those paws on the window scenes.
What are you growling at?
Oh, and that dumb. She goes out into the car, like egging him on.
Just do something.
Stephen King is obviously a cat person.
Stephen King, crazy man, you.
After Stephen King got done ruining the image of the St. Bernard, he had to go after the car. Christine is about a young, kind of picked-on, nerdy kid who buys an old car, fixes it up, it's possessed by the devil, and it turns him evil. Happens all the time.
Her name's Christine.
Typical nerd fantasy. Boy falls in love with car. Car falls back in love with boy. Car defends boy to the death.
There's all sorts of lines in it that are awesome that I can't say.
She had the smell of a brand new car. That's just about the finest smell in the world. Except maybe.
Later on, when Keith Gordon says it, we know he's gone completely crazy.
There is nothing finer than being behind the wheel of your own car. Except maybe for...
The magic in this movie is the car can regenerate. The car can't die.
Christine with the car and stuff like that, we just stood away from cars after that.
I think Christine was scarier than Cujo. If a dog got rabies, you'd just shoot it. I don't know what you do with a devil-possessed car.
There's no such thing as real monsters.
Get out! Sausages.
What brilliant Madison Avenue ad campaign came up with this? We've got sausages. We know dogs love sausages, but how do we...
Sausages.
That's it!
The manufacturers of sausages want you to eat this.
Sausages.
Are they gross? These aren't gross, right?
Crude fiber? What's crude fiber?
Whenever I go to do a diner, I order my egg sunny side up with sausages.
Not bad.
Sausages.
That's so bad.
Sausages?
In fun spring shapes. Your dog doesn't give a if it's in a spring shape. He just wants the sausage taste.
Sausages, you know, I always wondered what they did with the nut sacks that used to go with those things.
Anyone who tells you they know a dog who didn't love is completely lying about.
My dog will eat poop from my kid's diaper.
Sausages.
These are horrible. One?
Yeah. Sausage-style snacks for dogs.
I love 83. All right, listen up, Chicken McNuggets. Yeah? Your McDonald's 100% chicken.
Chicken McNuggets were a big addition to the McDonald's menu in 1983.
That's the only thing I have ever in my life eaten from McDonald's.
What is this strange confection that one can dippeth in honey or mustard?
Are we just nuggets? Your McNuggets made from whole breast and thigh.
What Chicken McNuggets are made of is anyone's guess.
There might be some chicken in there.
I've never really tasted chicken that tastes like a chicken McNugget.
They say this chicken has no bones.
When Huey Lewis said he wanted a new drug, I just wanted more Chicken McNuggets. I was freebasing Chicken McNuggets during the 80s. I was so obsessed with them.
I loved the McNugget.
They were tasty.
I still love the McNugget.
But they only taste delicious if you have McNugget sauce.
Generally, you'd be offered one sauce, but I would oftentimes ask for two.
My favorite McNugget sauce is sweet and sour, baby. Because I'm sweet, I'm sour.
The nice thing is you can mix your sauces.
I never mixed them. I did not have that kind of imagination.
It's hard to imagine life in America before Chicken McNuggets for you kids out there.
I would not want to be alive at a time without Chicken McNuggets.
But there was a time when Americans didn't have Chicken McNuggets, so be thankful.
Good for Chicken McNuggets. 20 years, happy birthday.
Get going.
Deja video.
Gonna rock this town, rock it inside out.
They're my favorite retro 50s band from the 80s.
Well, it's interesting that the Stray Cats were a retro band in the 80s.
And now we're on a retro show talking about a band that was retro then.
When I was in 7th grade, I had the penny loafers and the slick back hair and the Stray Cat t-shirt. You know, I thought it was cool.
Stray Cats.
Slim Jim Phantom on drums. Brian Setzer beat us for our first Grammy nomination.
That's right.
Thanks for nothing, Bri. I think Brian Setzer's going to bring back the Charleston. When VH1 is so bankrupt in programming that I heart the 30s.
I love the 30s. I love 83.
Donkey Kong Mario, he's a good union guy, and he's trying to rescue his lady love from a barrel-throwing monkey.
This monkey seems to have an endless supply of barrels with which to throw at the swarthy Italian man.
What's wrong with that? You got something against the Italians?
You got something against the Italians?
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Mario and Luigi. They're both short and squat guys. They had the big spaghetti mustache.
They were hardworking guys. They weren't
gangsters.
They weren't gangsters.
If you got a part with Mario and you got by the gorilla, you got to kiss the girl.
Honestly, she seems a little indifferent. Occasionally she's...
Donkey Kong, I don't know. He really wasn't a donkey either.
The actual name of the game is Monkey Kong. The Japanese manufacturer got it wrong and sent it out as Donkey Kong.
Monkey Kong!
As you can see, I spent a lot of time at the arcade.
Culture Club. I love them. And apparently, Boy George loves me back a little bit, but I'm married.
I always liked Culture Club. Don't have any of the records.
If you liked Culture Club, it meant that you were maybe queer.
As a young girl, you're like, he's just sensitive. He was just beautiful. He was wearing lots of makeup. You really think, like, you guys could go out and you maybe share makeup tips?
I'm confronting people's conception of what is normal. Of course, there is no such word as normal because, you know, what's normal for you is normal.
Let's all put on kabuki makeup and dress like women. For a while, people were dressing like Boy George, as if that was going to be socially acceptable.
That was quite fascinating. You sort of drive at airports and there'd be like thousands of, you know, girls, you know, all dressed in the dreadlocks, a hat and everything. I mean, it was pretty mad.
Come a chameleon. I wanna kill myself cause my drumming boyfriend screwed someone else.
Everyone thought he was a freak and I liked it.
I think that's awesome that he was bold and he just wanted to be proud of who he is and was.
I think there's an element of truth in that.
Coming up, the Muppets on acid.
It's a hideous round thing.
Plus, Martina Navratilova, kick-ass tennis machine.
She was buffed out, super check buff woman, check animal.
And the unbeatable combination of cross-dressing and Holy Scripture.
I'm guessing somebody in the studio said, you know what? We've got a movie with Barbara in drag studying the Torah. Maybe we should have a couple songs. Just to kind of hedge our bets a little bit.
Next on I Love the 80s Strikes Back, 1983. Now for Donald Logue's unfinished thoughts on The Day After. And
good.
Don't you understand? This food is radioactive. Sausages are good. The only thing safe to eat are sausages. Thank God I was hoarding them in my basement. I'm the only human that will survive.
Good.
Nerds of 1983.
What's happening, hot stuff? Getty Watanabe here, bringing you the nerds of 1983. Nerds Candy, delicious nerdy treat. LeVar Burton, reading Rainbow Nerd. And Simon of the Chipmunks, nerdy little rodent. Nerds of 1983. Trust me, the donger knows.
Is that a Jewish vegetable? A yentl? Like a lentil?
Yentl is like Barbra Streisand's Jewish Tootsie.
I'd like to buy this one, please.
Sacred books are for men. Yentl could not get into the synagogue to study Judaism. You could only study if you were a boy.
You don't have to hide my studying from God, then why from the neighbors?
Why? Because I trust God will understand. I'm not so sure about the neighbors.
She cuts her hair and becomes a man to go to school to study the Torah.
Who doesn't want to study the Torah for hours and hours on end?
Come on in! No! There's a passage here that,
She meets up with Mandy Patinkin, who doesn't notice for a second that she's a woman because she looks so believably like a man.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Who could have fallen for the fact that she was a girl dressed up as a guy? I'm sorry, but Barbra Streisand did not look like a little boy.
Without the breasts, she would have been more convincing.
Oh my God.
There's a good lesbian scene, though, between Barbra Streisand and Amy Irving.
You don't have to wait any longer. Oh, God.
I was so grateful that she moved her head away.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I can't.
No. Don't kiss Barbara. Don't, poor Hadass.
If she had made out with Amy Irving, it would have become a different film, maybe.
You know what? God love the Jews.
I'm guessing somebody in the studio said, you know what? We've got a movie with Barbara in drag studying the Torah. Maybe we should have a couple songs. Just to kind of hedge our bets a little bit.
Papa, can you hear me?
Papa, can you help me not be frightened?
Papa, can you hear me?
No, Papa can't hear you, Barbara. He's dead.
She was like singing, acting, talk singing, and it was just so believable.
Looking at the skies, I seem to see a million eyes. Which ones are yours?
She reveals her womanhood, and then she sails back for America to sell thousands upon thousands of cassettes to my mom.
Break. This is a really big moment. We're going to see Kiss without their makeup for the very first time.
Kiss taking off their makeup was probably the defining moment of my life.
In 1983, Kiss came out with an album called Lick It Up and took off their makeup on MTV in front of everyone. And then my world collapsed. What happened? When did this happen? What happened?
Maybe you shouldn't have taken the makeup off.
It feels very, very comfortable. I hope it seems that way. I feel fine about it.
Gene Simmons in real life is just one horrible-looking Jewish man. And there's some cute Jews out there.
Kiss tried to take their makeup off in an effort to, bonify their career, but it was to no avail. Perhaps they should have kept the veil.
It's funny, people made a big deal about Kiss taking off their makeup, but they also failed to recognize that they put the makeup back on to pay the bills.
I'm not so happy about the fact they have it back on, because I like them without it. There, I've said it. I feel better for having said it.
Bye, folks. Bye.
I love 83.
Martina Navratilova won her 4th Wimbledon ladies tennis title today.
Well, Martina Navratilova.
Navratilova.
Martina Navratilova was so interesting because as a young girl, I kept thinking, she's a little different.
Martina, she walked like a woman but talked like a man, said Martina.
She was the first one I've ever seen that had like that vein right here in her arm.
She was a magnificent athlete. You know, she had such grace of movement.
He was buffed out, super check buff woman, check animal, with racket, boom, boom.
The rivalry between Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert was a competition over what defined a woman.
Here's Chris Evert, you know, basically like a Barbie doll, ruling the roost with her blonde hair and nice, here comes Martina, a Czech Republic defector with these glasses and a very non-Barbie style.
It's like, what kind of chick do you like? You like a little more butch? You like a little more Barbie? You know what I'm saying? You like it a little rough? You like your sex a little rough? You like it a little soft?
She put little Chrissy Everett away, didn't she? Welcome to me, Slovakia. Martina, you don't f*** with me. I'll kill you.
If I saw her on the street or in real life, she would me up.
Down in Fraggle Rock. Down in Fraggle Rock. Clap, clap.
Down with Fraggle Rock.
Oh my gosh, I love Fraggle Rock.
Was I a Fraggle Rock fan? Bam!
I never saw it because we didn't have the HBO. Because we were poor.
They were all like, hey! You know, and like fraggly. They were just so damn happy. Somehow mining and digging in the cave made them burst into song.
Fraggles are a noble race. Fearless, dignified, intellectual. They represent the very pinnacle of culture.
Yeah, the Fraggles had to be as developed as any creature could be mentally because they sought counsel from a trash heap.
Let's face it, boys, the trash heap is all. Let the Fraggles play. We're Gobo, Family Red.
I really identified with Red.
I betcha I can get from here to your room without touching the ground.
This is Red Fraggle. She was the free-thinking, independent, buck the establishment Fraggle. Clearly, Fraggle is another example of pot-induced puppetry.
Ugh, it's a hideous round thing. Ugh.
The Fraggles were very food-oriented.
It's a good thing I'm hungry. I can eat my way to freedom.
And they were very hippie-looking.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
They were going to call him Ganja Rock for a while.
I love Fraggle Rock. I'm shocked. I want to know who else watched Fraggle Rock.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
I love 83.
Lesson 1 about extraterrestrial contact. Never trust those dirty, conniving aliens.
We will gladly share with you all the fruits of our knowledge.
Anyone who says they'd like to share the fruits of their knowledge with you, run.
The horrifying miniseries V. Next on I Love the 80s Strikes Back, 1983. But first, the what the moment of 1983.
In 1983, the Beach Boys were banned from playing a July 4th celebration because Secretary of the Interior James Watt said he didn't want the wrong element showing up. Oh yeah, the Beach Boys, that's really the devil's music. Hey, James, what the
I'm told that our affiliate station KXT in San Francisco now has a picture. Yes, there it is. Good Lord.
I like V because I thought they did it really well. There was this kind of underlying paranoia behind the whole thing.
Listen, outside.
When they first came down, and of course they act friendly.
We have come in peace.
We have come from another planet to take your Ray-Ban sunglasses.
We will gladly share with you all the fruits of our knowledge.
Anyone who says they'd like to share the fruits of their knowledge with you, run.
And then you find out there are these evil lizard creatures underneath.
Lizard.
Mark Singer was the lead, Earthling.
In the series V, the primary source of nutrition was gerbils and mice.
If I had to choose between eating a mouse or eating a gerbil, gerbils are fluffier, right?
I would probably say a gerbil because it's a little hairy.
Earthlings were used to putting gerbils in their butts.
Oh my God, I can't find a gerbil for Friday night because of those damn aliens!
Oh my gosh.
One of the aliens fell in love with one of the humans.
He is such a fox.
And then she had the alien baby.
I don't know.
I'm a lizard! Whoa! Oh, baby!
If aliens came from outer space, I would definitely think that they're not coming to just chill. I would definitely form a resistance as well and make a miniseries about it.
Yeah, they were lizard people. But don't we all have a little bit of this guy inside our heads? I know I do.